And Volvo is cutting the top speed for its newest cars. Instead of 130 miles per hour, you'll be able to hit 112 miles per hour. The move is part of the company's goal to have no deaths or serious injuries in its new vehicles by 2020. The automaker is exploring technology that would limit the speed of its cars when they drive behind schools and hospitals.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is home to the Atlanta Falcons, is going cashless. It's the first pro stadium in the country to go completely cash-free. Starting Friday, all ticket concessions and merchandise purchases will have to be made with credit cards or mobile payments. Fans without plastic or electronic pay capability will be able to use cash at special ATMs in the stadium to buy debit cards to make other purchases at the games, because it's all fun and games until your phone battery dies.
Yeah.
You can't use your Apple Pay.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think so many people are going in that direction, right? Thank you for being here with us for the KCRA 3 News at 4. Edie Lambert and Golston Darter here now with what's coming up at 5.
Brian and Lisa, thank you. We continue to follow the increased security surrounding the Sacramento Kings game tonight.
Beefed up security for tonight's game. Sacramento Kings taking extra steps to keep fans safe in case of any protests surrounding the Stephon Clark case. Plus,
I get it. I understand how important this is, especially, to the family.
Calls for Attorney General Becerra to file charges against those officers who killed Clark. He talks today for the first time since the DA announced her decision.
And after deadly storms sweep the South,
we lost children, mothers, fathers.
The president promises aid, but his response is stirring up controversy.
Where the news comes first. This is KCRA 3 News at 5.
And at 5, higher security due to public safety concerns. The Sacramento Kings close off the plaza outside the Golden One Center in advance of tonight's NBA game.
Live Copter 3 is over the Golden One Center right now. The team and Sacramento police preparing for the possibility that there could be protests following the district attorney's decision not to charge the officers who were involved in the shooting death of Stephon Clark.
Yeah, it's a different looking area down there right now. Mike Lurie's live at the Golden One Center to show us what that extra security looks like right now, Mike.
And Golston, those security guards here at Golden One Center are not letting anyone into the arena unless they actually have a ticket for tonight's event. You can see them out in full force tonight, 6, 8, 12 of them. That's not something you would normally see on a Kings game night, but you can also see the fencing here on the perimeter leading up to the arena, along with barriers before you can even get in. The Kings and the city determined tonight to make sure that there is not a repeat of what happened here last March. With beefed up security surrounding Golden One Center, community activists have been vocal about demanding criminal justice reform.
You know, we always use the element of surprise.
Barry Axios says he's not planning any protests outside Golden One tonight, but he is partnering with the Kings for a forum on justice and healing set for tomorrow.
We're going to continue to call for the firing of those officers. I mean, that's kind of the first step, firing those officers, putting the pressure.
The 2 officers involved in the shooting death of Stephon Clark have been cleared of any criminal wrongdoing by District Attorney Anne Marie Schubert. And today, Sacramento police are saying that any talk of disciplinary action against the 2 is premature.
Once we receive information from the Attorney General's office, then we will conduct our final policy review.
As for now, Sacramento police have extra officers on duty for tonight's Kings game, and only people with tickets will be allowed to enter into the downtown Commons Plaza outside Golden One. Kings players remain focused on their game tonight against the Knicks, while fully aware that last year, vocal protesters prevented thousands of ticketed fans from entering the arena.
What these people are protesting is something that's important to the community. No charges brought to the officers in the killing of, Stephon Clark. I mean, that's a big deal, and that's something that definitely needs, attention and awareness.
Also today at Sacramento State University, students and faculty came together for a town hall meeting to discuss social justice issues.
This is about us coming together and healing. The community is hurting. It's hurting on all sides, and we're here together to be able to support one another.
And you're looking at live pictures now of several police officers outside Golden One Center. Just another example visually of the enhanced security here. So the focus tonight is on security. Tomorrow the focus will be on dialogue and having discussions. The Kings will be partnering with the community to have a community forum on healing and justice. That will be at the South Sacramento Christian Center, hosted by Pastor Les Simmons. Reporting live outside Golden One Center, Mike Lurie, KCRA 3 News.
And Mike, we know they have some very specific goals. What are some of the other demands that those activists are making at this point?
So we heard about the one demand for the firing of the police officers. They are also demanding that District Attorney Anne-Marie Schubert resign. We contacted the DA's office today. They say they're not commenting on that at all. They are sticking to their comments that they made on Saturday following the one-year review of that tragic shooting.
All right, Mike, thank you.
All right, there's still another investigation being conducted into Stephon Clark's death, and that is being done by the State Attorney General's office.
Max Resnick joins us now here in our studio after talking to the Attorney General today.
Edie Golson, good evening. Attorney General Becerra says his findings are coming soon. He says conversations with his team have intensified in the last several weeks as faith leaders demanded today that he file charges.
Asking him to do the right thing, do what is morally right.
Fellow ministers joined Reverend Shane Harris at the Attorney General's office, handing over this letter and demanding the prosecution of the officers who shot and killed Stephon Clark.
You know, Javier Becerra, that what we saw was egregious and wrong. You know this. And that is why we are standing here asking you to act with a moral compass.
As Harris delivered his message, Attorney General Javier Becerra took questions on his office's investigation into Clark's death.
I rely on my team. We've been having conversations over the last many months, and they've intensified over the last several weeks, and we should be ready very, very soon.
I asked Becerra how there could be discrepancies in his findings and District Attorney Anne-Marie Schubert's.
You're both looking at the same law, the same evidence. How difficult is that to find discrepancies there?
We have the same record for the most part. And the law is, it's fairly developed in this area. And so what we do, I suspect, will not diverge in all respects. It's not the same. I don't know how she and her team undertook their investigation. I certainly can talk about, and I will when we finally finish and release our report, we'll talk about what we did. And so it's hard for me to try to compare or contrast, because we're going to finish our report and people can take a look at what we do through our report, and each one stands on its own.
Bill Portanova, a former prosecutor and current defense attorney, says he doesn't expect the AG's office to come to a different conclusion.
There's no reason to believe that law enforcement professionals at the State Attorney General's office are going to find different facts or come to different legal conclusions than the law enforcement professionals at the Sacramento District Attorney's office.
Still, faith leaders press on.
The police unions and agencies want you to cringe. They want you to be scared. But Javier Becerra, you know that what is right and what is wrong.
Becerra said today that he recognizes the importance of this investigation, especially to Clark's family and those in the community awaiting those results. Golston.
All right, thanks for that, Max. And coming up tonight at 6 o'clock, KCRA investigates why didn't the investigation into the two officers who shot Stephon Clark go deeper? Our Kevin Oliver reports on what we've learned about that today.
Deadly storms tore across the southeast, taking the lives of dozens of people, including at least 3 children. A powerful EF4 tornado carved a path of destruction across Alabama and Georgia yesterday. Homes were leveled, trees knocked over. Witnesses talked about living through this.
I heard the windows busting, stuff coming through. He felt the house coming up. So, yeah. Don't ever care to live through it again. Scariest thing I ever been through. Heard it twice when both tornadoes come through.
So as you heard her say, there were at least 2 tornadoes there on record, a terrifying ordeal for so many people in their path. So you saw that destruction, and those communities are now in mourning after losing their loved ones, their homes, churches, and businesses. Today, President Trump promised to send Alabama federal resources. He says that FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, is already there with people on the ground helping those victims. Aixa Diaz is in Washington with more on that destruction and why some Democrats are now criticizing the president.
I've directed FEMA to provide immediate assistance to the great state of Alabama.
President Trump promising federal help in the wake of a deadly tornado in Alabama, part of a dangerous storm system that hit the southeast.
We lost children, mothers, fathers, neighbors, and friends.
Hardest hit, Lee County, Alabama, where officials say an EF4 tornado tore through the area at 170 miles per hour.
I estimated the path width at 0.87 miles, or almost a mile wide. So a monster tornado.
Earlier, President Trump tweeted, FEMA has been told directly by me to give the A+ treatment to the great state of Alabama and the wonderful people who have been so devastated by the tornadoes. The Democratic-led House Homeland Security Committee reacted to that comment, tweeting, what did you tell FEMA to give the wonderful people of Puerto Rico? An F treatment? The Trump administration has been criticized for its response to Hurricane Maria, and earlier this year, the president threatened to cut off federal aid to California in the wake of deadly wildfires, accusing the state of improper forest management.
In a very real way, human lives are being put at risk by trying to turn these into political battles that they shouldn't be.
This week's tragedy comes at a time of transition for FEMA. Friday is Administrator Brock Long's last day with the agency. He submitted his resignation last month after nearly 2 years. In Washington, Aixa Diaz, KCRA 3 News.
In the past, the Trump administration has defended its response to natural disasters, including Hurricane Maria.
All right, turning now to weather for you and the weather conditions in Northern California right now. Here's a live look from our Skycam network. You've got Stockton, Fairfield, Sacramento, Lake Tahoe. I think I see some sunshine in one of those pictures. I think that's what that is. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Mark Finan. Is that what that is?
Well, yeah, but even that is clouded over with a fair amount of cloud cover. And yeah, from those sky cameras, you saw a lot of cloud cover. But this is the way it looks on Doppler radar. There isn't anything coming out of those clouds. And if you are planning on heading out this evening, it will stay dry. So yeah, we've had a lot of rain. We've had a lot of clouds. But at least right now, we have cloudy skies. It is dry. That'll be changing tomorrow. There is a weather system developing out here in the Pacific, and it is going to once again send a surge of moisture into California. However, the difference this time is that the focus of heaviest rain is going to be to our south. I'll time out the rain and show you how much we are expecting in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Mark, thanks so much. In Central California news, a serial killer who preyed on farm workers back in the 1970s has died. Juan Corona was serving 25 concurrent life sentences for murdering 25 farm workers. Their bodies were found back in 1971, buried in orchards along the Feather River near Marysville in Sutter County. All of the victims were men who had been seen with Corona or had been hired through Corona's Sutter County labor contracting business. Corona died at a Corcoran State Prison. Officials say he died of natural causes this morning at the age of 85.
A Ripon man who coached youth sports appeared in court today on multiple charges of sexually abusing a child. 49-year-old Roy West was taken into custody after a warrant was served at his Ripon home. He's now booked into the San Joaquin County Jail on several charges of sex abuse of a child under 10. He also faces charges of possessing child porn, and investigators are asking parents to talk to their kids who may have come into contact with West, especially those on the teams he coached. His bail set at $4 million, and he'll be back in court in the middle of next month. And in Modesto, a professional race car driver was injured after a fiery crash on Highway 99. This was just south of Hatch Road this morning. 22-year-old Tanner Thorson, who is based in Sacramento, was driving a dual-wheeled Ford F-350 and hauling a trailer. The CHP says he hit the back of a milk truck when he failed to slow down through a construction zone. He may have been driving while drowsy. That truck now is just about unrecognizable, but Thorson is expected to recover. A woman in Fairfield is in serious condition after she was hit by 2 cars this morning. This happened on West Texas Street at around, again, 2 this morning. One of the drivers was arrested on charges of driving under the influence.
Luke Perry, who rose to fame as a teen idol back in the 1990s, has passed away. Coming up next, who he was with in his final moments and the tributes that are now pouring in.
And a life-saving drug for a better price. The company that will now offer a generic version of their drug for more than $100 less. Emotional tributes are pouring in for actor Luke Perry, who died this morning after a major stroke. This has been shocking news for many in Hollywood and many of his fans. Perry was just 52 years old. He's best known for his role as Dylan McKay on Beverly Hills 90210. And more recently, he starred in the TV show Riverdale. Perry had been hospitalized since last Wednesday after a 911 call for medical help was made from his home in the Sherman Oaks area of Los Angeles. On the day he was hospitalized, televised last week, news broke of a Beverly Hills 90210 reboot. Perry had yet to sign on, but he had told the Today Show that he was open to that idea back in 2017.
I very much would be interested in doing it this time. I'd like to get back with them and work with my guys.
Perry was surrounded by his family, including his children, siblings, fiancé, and ex-wife. Many of his fellow actors have been tweeting out their shock and sadness over this loss. Ian Ziering, who starred with Perry in 90210, tweeted, quote, "I will forever bask in the loving memories we've shared over the last 30 years. May your journey forward be enriched by the magnificent souls who have passed before you, just like you have done here for those you leave behind." And his co-star on Riverdale, Asha Bromfield, wrote on Instagram that she woke up in a ball of tears. She says that Luke was the kindest, warmest, most loving human being. Quote, "He always went out of his way to make me feel safe, heard, and seen in his presence."
Attorney General Xavier Becerra launching yet another lawsuit against the Trump administration. This time he says that he's fighting for women's health. He wants to overturn what he is calling obstacles for women who are seeking abortions. Backers of the legal action says that the new federal rule will restrict a woman's access to health care.
This will limit the information that providers are allowed to give to their patients. So they can provide information about having access to prenatal care, whether or not the woman wants access to prenatal care, but cannot and are not able to provide a referral for abortion services.
21 states, including California, are part of this lawsuit. Well, cheaper insulin prices are being offered by pharmaceutical company Eli Lilly. Their name brand Humalog costs $275 per vial. Well, they will soon offer a generic version. It's called Insulin Lispro. It'll go for $137 per vial. No word yet on when it will hit the market. The announcement comes as drug makers have been facing backlash over the soaring cost of certain life-saving drugs, including insulin.
100 activist college students took a day off from school today to push for clean energy and transportation at the state capitol. Students from 8 different UC campuses as far as San Diego arrived in that electric bus. They were joined by several lawmakers who say California has and will continue to lead the nation in going greener.
We have to stop drilling for oil in California. We have to get all of our transportation to run on clean energy by 2030.
If we've got $100 billion to spend as a state that is aligned with greenhouse gas emissions reductions between now and 2030, that's more capital than most nations on this planet can bring to bear. So we're asking the private sector to say, what's your match?
For Wendy Carrillo, everybody.
There are currently tax incentives in California for private sector companies to go greener, but Senator Stern is pushing for more private companies to spend money on research and development in green initiatives. And coming up tomorrow here on KCRA3, our election special, California votes 1 year away. Tomorrow marks exactly 1 year from the now moved up California primary. We'll be looking at the potential impact our state could have as our primaries are moved from June to March. Again, that's tomorrow from 6:30 to 7 p.m. right here on KCRA3.
All right, and going right now to a guy who never gets asked about the weather outside, especially these days. How are you doing, Mark?
Well, we're doing all right.
Okay.
It is dry out there, and this is Live Copter 3 up over Sac State and over the Guy West Bridge there over the American River. And with this dry weather, I've seen a lot of people on their bikes. You haven't had a chance to get out on your bike if you're a more fair weather biker, if you will. But it is going to stay dry throughout the evening. And as you look at the American River, it's running high, well within its banks, and it's actually going to drift a little bit lower as we go through this week. 57 degrees currently in Sacramento, wind under 10 miles an hour. We're going to stay with temperatures in the 50s throughout the evening. Currently in Stockton, we have 59 degrees, mostly cloudy. We're also mostly cloudy in Modesto with 59 degrees. In Fairfield, a lot of clouds and 57, but it is dry. And in Tahoe, it's relatively mild. We're in the upper 30s. We've been around 40 this afternoon. The wind out of the southwest at 7 miles an hour. Clouds coming into the area, but nothing in the way of rain just yet. We are going to see rain over the next couple of days as another relatively slow-moving weather system brings rain our way. This is the way Futurecast shows 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. We'll start to see some rain come up, so while we may not wake up to rain, it's not going to be very long after that before we are in rain. This is 10 o'clock. The rain appears to be along and south of Interstate 80, so Yuba City to Chico may not see much rain, where Stockton, Modesto, and Turlock will see rain, and the snow level at that time will be around 6,000 feet. So that's 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. The rain turns more hit and miss as we head into the afternoon. This is 5 p.m. So that first area of rain is gone. But then tomorrow night and into early Wednesday, this is 11 o'clock. This is then Wednesday morning. You see more periods of rain. We are going to see a steadier rain, a more persistent rain during the day on Wednesday, and that snow level is still going to be around 6,000 feet. Plan on chain controls in the Sierra on Tuesday, Wednesday, and likely even into Thursday. While the valley will see much drier weather on Thursday, the Sierra will continue with some snow. How much rain are we talking about? About ½ inch to an inch of rain for the valley. The foothills maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain. And in the high Sierra, above 6,500 feet, we're going to see more than a foot of snow. So you get the idea of chain controls for the Sierra. And for the valley, the amount of rain that we're expecting should be manageable by our area, streams and creeks, and certainly our rivers. Temperatures tomorrow in the high Sierra will be in the upper 30s. That snow level will bounce around 6,000 to 6,500 feet. Thursday, it could maybe lower to 5,000 feet. But Pollock, Pines, and Arnold, once again, you're going to get rain this time, not snow this week. The foothills will be talking about temperatures in the 50s with on-again, off-again rain. We'll also see on-again, off-again rain in San Francisco and Fairfield. And for the valley, perhaps some rain after 7 o'clock, but before 10. So for many of you, it will be for the morning commute. And temperatures throughout the day will be in the 50s. So we'll see periods of rain tomorrow with temperatures in the upper 50s to near 60. The more persistent rain is Wednesday. It tapers on Thursday, much more dry times Thursday. And then after that, we are dry. We are cool with temperatures in the 50s and low 60s. But right now, the emphasis on right now, we still have the weekend dry.
Hallelujah. All right.
Right now.
Okay, I know. Okay. Thanks, Mark.
He knows someone's planning a 5-year-old birthday party. Thank you, Mark. To KCRA3 wildfire coverage now, and as communities continue to recover and rebuild after the most devastating wildfire in our state's history, the Camp Fire, Californians continue to show their support for victims. And today, Congressman Doug LaMalfa and the Sierra Cascade Logging Conference gave a $23,000 check to the Paradise High School 2019 graduating class. This money is to help with their graduation. The Logging Conference raised that money by auctioning off a Paradise football hat that was signed by the president at his State of the Union speech last month.
This is an issue that, obviously forestry tied into what had happened here. There's other factors as well. So then there's alumni of this high school, a lot of them that are part of that logging community up there down here. And so it just seemed to all line up naturally that they would take an interest in what is happening here, and that's why we did so great on the bidding of the hat.
The Camp Fire destroyed more than 12,000 structures and scorched more than 142,000 acres. And the Catholic Diocese of Stockton has been taking up a second collection to help those impacted by the Camp Fire. And so far, they've been able to give more than $157,000 to the Diocese of Sacramento to help those who've lost their homes and other property. The diocese says donations are still coming in, and they want to make sure that victims know that they are not alone.
Well, looking for a cheap flight to Hawaii? Maybe you will, because Southwest is having a sale, but you have to book it today or tomorrow. The airline is offering certain flights from Oakland to Honolulu and Oakland to Maui for as low as $49 one way. Now, those prices will only hold between certain travel dates. The airline will also be offering $49 one-way flights from San Jose to Honolulu and Maui. That's coming in April, but again, you have to book it by either today or tomorrow.
A special day for a canine officer in Placer County. Why the sheriff's office is celebrating Officer Eros. That's next.
Good day from Smith Station, Alabama, one of 2 towns hit particularly hard by that outbreak of tornadoes. A little while ago, I sat down with the family of a 10-year-old victim, one of the at least 23 people killed in the tornado outbreak. Obviously, a very difficult and emotional conversation. We'll have that when we see you tonight on NBC Nightly News.
And coming up tonight at 6, high river levels from recent storms causing some concerns, but not about flooding. What the biggest concern for some people is what's in the water. Well, a special welcome back home for Placer County Sheriff's Department today. A deputy's canine who was shot while on the job back in January.
Yeah, he's doing well now. Yeah. Eros was shot during a shootout after a man went on a shooting spree from Newcastle to Loomis, and he's been recovering for these last 2 months. He was just medically cleared to return to duty for his first official shift on Sunday with his handler, Kevin Thompson. This video was tweeted out by the Placer County Sheriff's Office, showing him getting ready there to get back to the streets and eager to get those bad guys.
Good to see that. Well, NBC Nightly News is next. One of the stories they're working on, the discovery of those 2 missing girls in Humboldt County. They were just 5 and 8 years old. They'll have that. We'll have the latest on the upcoming Kings game tonight and the heightened security there. We'll see at 6.